and not necessarily an online review, although those are incredibly powerful too, because we use them for social proof. But what I want to talk about is the power of having someone else review your stuff. And let me explain. When you are writing copy of any kind, whether it's your own or someone else, it's really helpful to get another perspective. Maybe you've missed something. Maybe something in the story is clicking in your head, but it's not quite clicking onto paper. And you think you've explained it super well. And then maybe you haven't. Maybe the story just doesn't flow quite right. Maybe you've missed something. Or maybe it's spot on. Maybe there's some other stuff that you really love and is working really well for you. So I have had a variety of editors over the last several years, and some of them will just rewrite it, which is what I tend to do when I'm looking at my own team stuff for me. And I'm stepping away from that because, as my new friend Johnny says, rewriting it is a nuclear option. You don't want to do that. So how can you give feedback? How can you look at stuff? And more importantly, how can you get feedback? The best thing to do is in a group setting. And that's not the only place. Sometimes it's very worthwhile to pay someone for their time offline to look through your copy, to poke holes in it, to say, this is really awesome, but what about this? Maybe here's a suggestion. Here are some of the things you can try. But maybe you don't need them on call, or maybe their schedule is prohibitive for your deadlines. Any of those things are fine. But what I really want you to think about is, what if you were able to come to a weekly conversation, bring your copy, and get everyone's eyes on it, whether there's 2 other people on the call or whether there's 10 other people on the call. You could get some expert advice on what it looks like, and not just expert advice, but sometimes advice from your target demographic, depending on who that target demographic is. And it was during a conversation with my friend Lisa Williamson that I conceived of what I'm calling Snack Bar. And what Snack Bar is it's exactly that opportunity to get up to 4 calls a month where you can bring your copy, get eyes on it, poke holes in it, and see what it's looking like. It is limited to 10 to 15 minutes per piece of copy per person, depending on who all is on the call. And it is on a first come, first serve basis. So there's a form that you can bring your copy to. So what I want you to think about, though, is how that could change the game. Maybe you're writing an email and you just want to know, does this hit the right points? Maybe you're writing a sales page for your own business. Maybe you're writing your website copy. And we're going to dig into that in just a second, because website copy needs to be right, but it also needs to be good enough. There's such a thing as throwing something out into the world that gives you a short-term option. With that said, what would that look like? And what if you could get a bonus training every month? And that's why I've created the Snack Bar. The Snack Bar is, again, it's 4 weekly calls, or 4 calls in a month, once a week. The times alternate to make it easier and more accessible to different time zones, which is super helpful. I have found when people range from 12 hours apart to 6 hours apart and everything in between, and to the same time zone for that respect. So we meet right now Thursday afternoons and Friday mornings. So one week we meet on a Thursday afternoon, the next week we meet on a Friday morning, and vice versa. And it just keeps repeating. And that gives people some different opportunities to come, to bring their copy, and to get another set of eyes on it. And it's working really, really well. I created it in part because I love Womp Womp, right? And Womp Womp, if you don't know what Womp Womp is, Womp Womp to Wow is my website copy course. And it teaches entrepreneurs, specifically those who have some experience copywriting, whether or not they're currently copywriters, whether or not they're currently coaches, whether or not they're currently something else, so that they can figure out exactly what has to go on their copy for their website. And the course itself is currently set up as either a 3-week drip course with up to 8 weeks of support. And I'm changing that in the very near future. So there's 2 tracks. There's a 3-week track and there's an 8-week track. Either way, you get up to 2 months of Snack Bar to use either for your website copy itself or for some other types of projects that you're working on, just to get another set of eyes. The calls are not necessarily recorded unless we need to record it to get eyes on a certain person's piece of copy who's unable to attend. So, with all that in mind, what does that sound like? How does that sound amazing? Does that sound incredible? So, I popped some links into the introduction that show you how to join Snack Bar. It's $99 a month. And again, you get a bonus training every month. This month, we're talking about lead magnets and nurture sequences. Um, in a future month, we're going to be talking about USPs. In a future month, we're going to be talking about creating content trees and using that to drive your entire content strategy, and on and on. And so these are master classes that you can also purchase, or you will be able to soon. And I think the price on those is going to be about $65 per master class. Or if you join Snack Bar for 3 months, you also get access to all of them that I've created, to the entire library. So I truly hope to see you there. I look forward to connecting with you. And if you have questions, ping me or let